It has been estimated that some 60% of today's world's population is multilingual. Whereas today English is the world's most widely studied foreign language, 500 years ago it was Latin, for it was the dominant language of education, commerce, religion, and government in the Western world. The decline of Latin also brought with it a new justification for teaching Latin. So Latin was said to develop intellectual abilities, and the study of Latin grammar became an end in itself. As modern languages began to enter to the curriculum of European schools in the 18th century, they were taught using the same basic procedures that were used to teach Latin. So by the 19th century, this approach based on the study of Latin had become the standard way of studying foreign languages. The grammar translation method has some very punctual characteristics. The goal of foreign language study is to learn a language in order to read its literature or in order to benefit from the mental discipline and intellectual development that result from foreign language study. Reading and writing are the major focus. Little or no systematic attention is paid to speaking or listening. Vocabulary selection is based solely on the reading texts used, and words are taught through bilingual word lists, dictionary study, and memorization. In a typical grammar translation text, the grammar rules are presented and illustrated. A list of vocabulary items is presented with their translation equivalents, and translation exercises are prescribed. The sentence is the basic unit of teaching and language practice. Much of the lesson is devoted to translating sentences into and out of the target language, and it is this focus on the sentence that is a distinctive feature of the method. Accuracy is emphasized. Students are expected to attain high standards in translation. Grammar is taught deductively. This is by presentation and study of grammar rules, which are then practiced through translation exercises. The student's native language is the medium of instruction. It is used to explain new items and to enable comparisons to be made between the foreign language and the student's native language. Toward the end of the 19th century, teachers and linguists began to write about the need for new approaches to language teaching, and through their pamphlets, books, speeches, and articles, the foundation for more widespread pedagogical reform was laid. This effort became known as the Reform Movement in language teaching. The discipline of linguistics was revitalized. Phonetics, the scientific analysis and description of the sound systems of languages, was established, giving new insights into speech processes. Linguists emphasized that speech, rather than the written word, was the primary form of language. It advocated the study of the spoken language, phonetic training in order to establish good pronunciation habits, the use of conversation texts and dialects to introduce conversational phrases and idioms, an inductive approach to the teaching of grammar, teaching new meanings through establishing associations within the target language, rather than by establishing associations with the mother tongue. A study begun in the 1923 on the state of foreign language teaching concluded that no single method could guarantee successful results. The goal of trying to teach conversation skills was considered impractical in view of the restricted time available for foreign language teaching in schools, the limited skills of teachers, and the perceived irrelevance of conversational skills in a foreign language for the average American college student. In practice, it stood for the following principles and procedures. Classroom instruction was conducted exclusively in the target language. Only everyday vocabulary and sentences were taught. Oral communication skills were built up in a carefully graded progression organized around question and answer exchanges between teachers and students in small, intensive classes. Grammar was taught inductively. New teaching points were introduced orally. Concrete vocabulary was taught through demonstration, objects, and pictures. Abstract vocabulary was taught by association of ideas. Both speech and listening comprehension were taught. Correct pronunciation and grammar were emphasized. Particular methods differ in the way they address these issues, but in order to understand the fundamental nature of methods in language teaching, it is necessary to conceive the notion of method more systematically.